Valentine's Day is a day where I'm used to offering flowers to random women in the street. First, I'm single, and second, I do believe that buying a flower doesn't cost much, but it can make a single woman surprised and very happy, especially if it is unexpected. On Valentine's Day after work, I went to a flower shop and there was a big line. Before my turn came, the customers were told that roses were sold out, and if we wanted some, we had to go to another flower shop. And the woman who told us this gave us the address. The guy in front of me and I decided to exit the flower shop to go to this new address, and I told him, instead of using both our phones, we can simply use one. So I will let you use your GPS and we'll go together. That's how I got a new acquaintance. He told me he was a student. He wanted to buy some flowers for Valentine's Day for his girlfriend. I asked him which flowers and he told me roses and tulips, which were quite classic. He asked me if the flowers I wanted to buy was also for a madam. I said no, and he said, oh, then it's for a sir. I said no, and he was like, but why do you want to buy flowers for yourself? And I was like, actually, I would like to make some single women happy, and that's why I'm offering flowers for free in the street. And he was quite surprised, but he found the idea amazing. Suddenly, he told me what a stupid guy I am. And he explained to me that he put the wrong address on his phone and we were going to the opposite direction. So he put the right address and then we just walked in the opposite direction. When we arrived in this second flower shop, there was still a big line, and when I was lining up, I was thinking, poor guys, the pressure in the society is so high and these guys don't seem happy. Maybe they were forced to buy flowers by their girlfriend, or it's because of the society pressure. I was not in this case because for me, it was my idea to offer flowers and I knew exactly why I was buying them. So it is very different to manage a relationship with all the positive and negative sides, whereas for me, my mission was only to offer flowers and that's it. In the shop, I bought 2 roses of 2 different colors, and since there were no other colors, I bought lilies. Lilies are not my favorite flowers. I don't like its smell very much because it's very strong and it has a specific smell, but I find it physically beautiful. After I've got my 3 flowers, I parted with my new acquaintance and I looked in the streets for some women to offer my flowers. Since it was not my first time offering flowers in the street, I knew it was a much harder task than it seems to be. In my first experience, I thought the flowers would be gone in no time because everybody loves free things. But actually, offering flowers in the street is not the best place. There are people who sell you advertisement. There are people who belongs to non-profitable organization and wants you to make donations. There are people who wants to convert you in their religion. There are people who ask you for money, and there are people who wants to steal money from you. Because of these situations, I do understand that women in the streets are cautious. And one of the things I didn't want to happen was to be mixed with a person who wants to sell flowers in the street. So it was really not easy to have the right approach when I went to see a woman. In my opinion, there are 2 ways to select the woman to whom I would offer the flowers. The first option would be to approach women according to my preferences, and the second option would be to take random women. So I chose the second option because I knew it was hard enough to find one woman who would accept my flowers. And I was right because I got rejected many times. I think if I had to count, it was at least maybe 25 rejections. I was rejected in different ways. The first way was that the woman was looking at me in a strange way, not knowing what I wanted, and she just ignored me. The second way was the woman said she had a boyfriend The third way was the woman told me that she had no time. So as you can see, different excuses to say no. After 2 rejections, I tried again and again, and I kept having rejection. At the time I was quite tired because it was already late and I just wanted to go back home. And another reason why I got so many rejections was because after work it was already dark, and usually that moment is not the best moment to socialize. Imagine a guy who comes out from nowhere in the darkness who talks to you. So you are thinking it's maybe not a good person and you're going to run away from him. In my case, I was in a crowded place. I didn't want to go to some isolated places and to make a person scared. After being rejected many times, actually my motivation went down and I thought to myself, am I really doing the right thing? I was so down at some point. I just wanted to give up, to throw away my flowers in the trash and just go back home. I was tired, my motivation was low, and I was hungry. But there was something that made me change my mind, even after so many rejections. Some women, when they rejected me and I explained to them my aim, they were understanding what I was trying to do, and they support me in my idea, saying that it was a really good idea, but they were not the right person to receive my flowers. And they smiled to me. I don't know if it was a smile of politeness or of sincerity, but it gave me positive energy to go on, to pursue my aim. And among all the rejections, there were a few funny cases. The first one was I was offering the flowers to a person maybe in her mid-40s, and she told me she was very touched by such gesture, but she couldn't accept the flowers because she had a husband and she could not take the flower with her. She said she was going to a restaurant and her husband would be jealous, but she added, for me to offer her flowers is like she received the flowers. Just this thought made her feel the warmth of somebody giving her attention, and she left me with a smile. The second interesting story was about a woman that I wanted to offer the flowers because I was looking for so many people. After I started to talk to her, saying excuse me, I noticed there was something gravitating around her, which was her kids. And then I realized, oh, she was a mom, so she had a husband, and so she was not going to accept my flower. But it was too late. I already spoke out. So after saying excuse me, I just said, oh no, sorry. But since I regretted calling her, speaking to her, I had to explain the reason why I did so. So I explained her my thoughts, my plan, and she was hesitating if she had to take my flower or not. And her daughter told, but mom, accept the rose. Take it, please. And I was so surprised and I felt supported again. So it showed me I was doing the right thing. In the end, the mom decided not to take my flower and she told me it would be better if you offer it to a person of your age. So for me, I didn't really care about the age because every single woman, everybody who needs a bit of attention, a bit of love, deserves to get a flower. So I tried again and finally I found a person who accepted my flower and I was really happy. It's like destiny in a way. Those who rejected my flowers, not all of them, but some of them were suspicious, unhappy, moody. So in a way, it filters the people chosen to receive my flowers, while those who really received my flowers were those who were very surprised and who truly felt happy to receive them. So these people really deserve them in a way. So I'm happy it turns out this way. After I succeeded offering my first flower, my confidence was boosted, and despite the future rejections, I still got the energy to go on. I found a second woman who accepted my flower and I was really happy, and I told her, I have 2 flowers, you can either take one or take both. And she immediately understood what I wanted to do. She said, I am going to take one because I'm going to leave the last one for another woman. Finally, I found the last woman who was not French. I could hear her accent. She told me she was American. She was waiting in front of a restaurant and she was surprised. Actually, she didn't quite understand what I was saying because I was speaking a bit fast, and then I repeated myself and she understood what I said. Also, I forgot to mention something important. The reason why I had more success later when I tried to offer my flowers, it was because I changed my approach. My first approach was quite awkward. I was just going to see a single woman and telling that the flowers was for her and was for Valentine's Day. And so she didn't know actually if I was selling flowers or not, because I had flowers in my hands, and it's usually what roses seller do. They have flowers in their hands and they're selling flowers. When I saw that it didn't work, I decided to say something else. I said, "Excuse me, I'm looking for somebody to whom I can offer a flower for Valentine's Day." And it's funny because when I said these sentences, at first the person, the woman, thought I was looking for something or someone, and then she understood that this someone was actually her and the flower was for her. So it was a good surprise for these ladies, and even when they rejected my offer, they looked at me with a smile and probably think it's rare to have such approach, and such people still exist. So after I finished my mission, I went to eat, and I didn't know actually what I wanted to eat, but I remember the last woman to whom I offered the flowers was in front of a restaurant, and I thought maybe she had good taste and maybe I can talk to her a bit. So I walked back and then I talked to her, and it's very nice that she did not consider me as some romantic person, but we talked like normally. So she told me that she knew this restaurant quite well, that she was American, that she was living in Paris for 7 years and she knew the district quite well. And after a little bit of chatting, her order came out. It was a takeaway order. So I told her, "Your food is still hot and it would be better that you go home." And that's how my day ended. I went to Burger King to have my dinner and I came back home exhausted. But I hope these women were happy.